I'd like to welcome everyone to our virtual Homecoming 2020. We're all at different places, not only on our virtual screens, but in the world. I'm Dave Durden. I'm the head men's swim coach here at Cal. And currently, right now, I am in Budapest, Hungary, accompanying a handful of our 2016 Olympic athletes for a competition that's called the International Swim League, which is a professional swim league that is doing its own version of the NBA bubble out here for some competitions that will last over the course of 6 weeks heading into the month of November. And it's a great collection of athletes from around the world. And for most of these athletes, it's their first competitions since the end of February or the 1st of March. So we're very, very excited. So as you can tell, my background is a little bit darker than others because it is coming up on a little past midnight out here in Budapest, Hungary. But I am very, very fortunate to have three great Cal Bears that are joining me on this call. Our head track and field coach, Robin Johnson, our former Olympian Golden Girl at the 2012 London Games, and then representing Team USA at the 2016 Olympic Games, and then first representing Team USA at the 2004 Olympic Games, and Dana Vollmer, and then finally our NC2A champion from 2019. I wanted to say last year for a second, but it was actually 2019 Cameron Rogers. So I'm excited to be on this call and to be moderating this discussion for our virtual homecoming. And I wish that as Cal Bears that you were able to be on campus with us, but considering our current COVID protocols and our responsibilities within our community. And I have my mask on my wrist, so ready to put it on at a moment's notice. I'm sorry that you couldn't be here in person. I know the emotion that brings back of being on campus and being around campus, but hopefully in this virtual space, we can recreate a little bit of what you would experience in being on campus. So I'm going to get started. You don't need to hear from me. We have three great panelists on this call, and I want to make sure that you have time to hear their responses to our questions, your questions that you have, especially as we go into now the 2021 Olympic Games. Although I still think they're going to market it as the 2020 Olympic Games, but the 2021 Olympic Games that will happen here in July of 2021 in Tokyo. So I'm going to start off. I'm actually going to start off with Dana. I want you've been to 3 Olympic Games, and I want you to tell us about your previous experiences at those Olympic Games, and if you could kind of place yourself in the moment, considering what's going on around the world right now, into this 2020 or 2021 Olympic Games. How would that look different? So start off with your experiences at your 3 Olympic Games that you went to.
Each of the 3 Olympic Games that I went to was so incredibly memorable, starting off in Athens, Greece in 2004, London in 2012, and then ending my career in Rio in 2016. And some of my favorite memories, the Olympic Village is always buzzing with people and life and little different places that you find that you can eat, or different activities going on and athletes walking all around. And I've actually really always loved the dining hall, not just because of the food, but literally when you first go in, you'll notice that all the countries and the sports kind of sit with each other, like their own team, their own group. And then by the end of 2 weeks, at the end of the Olympics, when you walk in and everybody's mixed, competitors, rivals, longtime friendships, and getting to hear and meet all the different athletes was always one of my favorite parts. And, walking in to the natatorium and hearing this huge crowd, and it's the intensity of the Olympics and so much focus on swimming, which only happens once every 4 years for us. And it's interesting to be on that world scale, and to just really appreciate everybody cheering you on, and to think about it today, and will social distancing affect and have an impact on the Olympics? Most definitely. A lot of my memories are the interactions and the life, and but will athletes rise up to that challenge? I have no doubt that they will. And we, meaning the athletes, can bring that intensity. They can bring that competitive nature to that stage for themselves. And while I don't know what the stands will look like, what fans in the stands might be, is that going to be virtual? Is it going to be like NBA, kind of with all the pictures in the stands? We don't know right now, but I know that the athletes are preparing as hard as they can, and that they're going to bring it, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
I mean, I can remember in London in 2012. I was in London, not in the village. I was watching, from a TV in a living room in a house that we rented in London. I can remember you walking out for the 100 fly, and walking out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but walking out with your cow, kind of string backpack
Yeah.
on as you came out for your 100 fly final. And just in knowing that pool and knowing the dynamic of that pool, how all the energy sort of filtered down to those 8 lanes, and obviously as a competitor, as you went behind your lane, you feel that it inspires you, it charges you up, you get ready to go. In your mind as an athlete, how do you prepare with the idea that there's not going to be those fans in the stands and that energy coming down to you on the pool deck? I mean, could you put yourself in that moment again? And what are the things that you do as an athlete to prepare for that, and to know when you walk out, your name's announced, your country's announced, and it's like, it's kind of silence. How do you handle that, or sort of rehearse that in your mind?
I mean, it's going to be different. Like you said, you feed off of the crowd, and even though we're in the water, you can hear when the crowd starts to go crazy that something exciting is happening, and that charges you, and that might not be there. Um, I think for swimming in particular, I know I've been to enough competitions where we don't have a lot of people in the stands, but we still bring our A game, and it's, we're fighting as hard as we can in the water, racing that person next to us. And what I think will happen is the athletes will bring that intensity for each other. And I know I've been blessed that before the finals of basically every 100 fly, I've known the people in my heat as friends, as competitors, and that will support each other and help each other through that. And I think that it will be a really interesting thing to see how the athletes kind of bond and work to help bring that level of engagement for each other when we get up there behind the blocks.
And Robin, I mean, swimming and track and field are very, very similar, and sort of the length of the competition, how we go about our races from heats to semis, to finals, and et cetera. As a coach, how do you walk an athlete through those particular moments, especially in this day and age of social distancing, and based upon your experiences that you had in Rio in 2016?
Yeah, I think what Dana is saying is very true. Some of the things we're gonna have to do is really walk our athletes through these practices that they're doing a lot out there by themselves anyway, have been practicing like that. and really get into that mindset of you're going to have to bring your A game regardless of who's in the stands. And I think the competitive nature of most of these athletes are really going to bring them through these games. And, we have the life of a track athlete can be pretty lonely sometimes when you're out there on the track by yourself and you just have to get it done. You and your coach out there, and you're going to have to think about that Olympic final and everything leading up to that final as just like that. You're out there just getting the work done, doing what you know you can do, and feeding off your competitors. And coaches in the stands are going to be screaming like crazy and doing everything we can to keep them motivated. But yeah, I think, I really think the competitive nature of all these athletes are going to come out. It's still the Olympic Games. So they're still going to bring their A game and they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, and that sort of kind of leads into the next question as we look forward into 2021. And I know you, like me, are having discussions. It probably starts off when the Olympics were postponed from 2020 to 2021. Just kind of okay, what that means. Take a little time to process that, and then sort of on a monthly basis, sort of checking in, saying, okay, are things moving? How are we selecting our team? Is that potentially changing? And now, as we're getting a little bit closer, as we're here in the middle of October, we're 8 months out, roughly of selecting our teams for the Olympic Games. And I know from a swimming perspective, the things that we're looking at, and Robin, I'm going to ask you this in a second from the track and field side, but on the swimming side of things, we're starting to look at, okay, how are we going to change our trials based on what's going on during this pandemic? Are we going to have fans in the stands? And that kind of gets back to Dana's point, is like, one of the things we're going to practice this most likely at our trials before we get to experience it at our Olympic Games in terms of fans in the stands, et cetera. So we're trying to work through that as a USA Swimming body to figure out how we're going to select our team. We do it over the course of an 8-day trials meet. That hasn't really changed, or the dynamic of that meet really hasn't changed. But, the conversations about how we're going to have it, are there going to be fans in the stands? How many competitors are we going to have there, just to make sure that we're still creating a meet environment, but also that we don't have too many athletes there to create social distancing dynamics. How is track and field handling the selection of the team going into 2021?
Well, we're going to handle it like we've always. It's a 10-day trials period for us, and it almost mimics the Olympic Games, the way the schedule is. And as of now, the one thing that has changed is that they're opening the window to qualify for the trials a little wider, because meets were canceled and there was a lot of things that happened that just are out of everyone's control, and we need to have people, athletes at the trials to see who's going to make our team. And it's been said that the track and field team is the hardest team to make in the world. For the U.S., because on that day you have to be in the top 3, regardless of how you ranked in the world, regardless of how anything else is gone. On that day, you have to be the top 3 in the world. The one thing that's changed, we don't know, is if there'll be people in the stands, and that's the beauty of our trials are held in Eugene, Oregon, which is known as Track City, USA, and it really is that people come out of the woodworks and stands are packed, and those are the moments that you see these Olympic champions being born. They come in and they feed off the energy of everyone in there, and like I said, now we really have to feed off just the competitive nature, and I believe the cream will rise to the top, and we'll still have a great team, best team in the world.
Yeah, in much the same way, I think Dana could agree with this. And actually, I want to get our thoughts on this. Going through our U.S. Olympic swimming trials is almost more difficult than going to the Olympic Games. And I feel that as a coach. I feel like the weight was taken off my shoulders. But as an athlete, Dana, how did you feel going through the U.S. Olympic trials and then competing at the Olympic Games?
I definitely agree that the Olympic trials are in a way more intense than the Olympic Games. And part of that, I feel like, from a little girl, my dream was to make the Olympics. And to know that when we go to the Olympic trials, there's been years where our top 5 would be the top 5 at the Olympic Games, but you have to be top 2 to get to go. And to know that it's coming down to hundreds. And just like Robin said, it's that day. You don't get to choose. And to prepare, I think the uniqueness of the trials is to see who can handle that amount of pressure. And it's standing up on that day and, you know, your dreams on the line and getting up and managing to put together a good performance and put together your best race and get on that team. And then it's kind of this relief that you are on the team. You are forever an Olympian for the United States. And you know, you get to bond with your other teammates and you step up on the blocks and that's when you get to have fun. And that's something that Terry McKeever at Cal has always said to me was, you know, you put in the work and then when you're up on the blocks, that's when it's fun. That's when you get to show what you've done. And I feel like that's what the Olympic Games have always felt like you're fighting for your country, for your teammates, and you get so much drive and energy from that. And it's a completely different feeling than standing up at the Olympic trials. And I think that the US team really feeds into each other and feeds into the support we get from our country and from fans. And we use that to give our best performances.
So Cameron, I'm going to bring you into this now because, you know, just hearing Dana gets me fired up. You know, I'm at my first legit swim meet it feels like in ages, right? I mean, it feels like I don't know, it was March, right? That we were still competing. And now here I am in October and, you know, 5 months later, and it's like, I'm finally getting into a meet mode and sort of getting that excitement. But take us back to March and you're in the midst of your training and it shuts down. And I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as representing Canada, Canada was one of the first countries to sort of pull their athletes out of the Olympic Games. Walk us through some of those emotions, walk us through those feelings, and please correct me if I'm wrong if my memory serves me incorrectly on that. But it was a little bit of an anxious time, and talk to us about what you were feeling, what you were doing during those times.
Wow, March was definitely a very, very crazy month. Everything happened so suddenly. And I think that's what led to a lot of the craziness in a way, because the week that everything sort of started to shift was, I can pinpoint it day by day. The Monday was, I think, the first day that all of the classes went fully online. And so, or was the last day online or in-person classes. And then Tuesday was the first day of online classes. And that in itself was definitely a strange transition for all of us here as just taking our classes. Because I definitely feel lucky that I've been able to take an online class before, but suddenly when everything starts to move online, it's different in the way you kind of perceive your scheduling and your management with time. And so all of that was getting figured out. And then that was also the weekend that indoor track and field national championships was going on. So 2 of my close throwing teammates had qualified. We were all super pumped. We were so excited. And they left on the Wednesday. And that Wednesday is also when I left, except I had actually gone home for the weekend. It worked out perfectly with timing. We figured that it was going to be the last time I was going to be able to spend some time with my family, with everyone at home before returning maybe in August. So I was happy to be cheering them on from a distance. And so I flew home that night and I brought my backpack with me of my training gear. And I was at practice with my coach at home, and he's the coach at the University of British Columbia. And so I was there practicing with him and his throwers. And all of a sudden I started getting all of these breaking news updates on my phone. And it took me a second to kind of realize what was going on, because I started to see this conference has pulled out, this conference has pulled out. And then all of a sudden, the really big one appeared where the NCAA has officially canceled all spring sports. And I remember kind of just standing there beside the hammer cage and looking at my coach and just going, is this possible? Like, can this happen? Because I couldn't recall any time where they had ever canceled such, a huge, I mean, one singular event, but an entire season of sports. And from then on kind of was the start of everything, because that weekend my flight got canceled. And so I just returned to school about 2 weeks ago, and I was home for 7 months. And in those 7 months, I feel as if I have grown so much, just because of the huge changes that were made. Because all of a sudden, I was taken away from my team and from my coach and from the environment that I was so used to operating within, and having everything kind of just figuring out how to work with this new environment and this new atmosphere and different energy, trying to manage things while life was just kind of put on pause. It was definitely very crazy, but it also gave me a lot of time to work on the little things in technique, the little things when it came to managing time for studying. And I feel like I've taken a lot of these little lessons back here to school with me. And so as I've started the semester and as I've now returned back to Cal, I almost feel more prepared, even with everything being so uncertain. And it's really nice to kind of feel like, in a way, everything could just be put on pause, but now we all have an approach of the best ways to deal with those situations. Because the way that life got put on pause is the way that anything could change in an instant, with training, with competitions, and you have to be very ready to deal with those times when they come, because when they do happen, the only thing that you can really change or impact is how you respond to them. So now I'm back here.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you back. I miss seeing you in the weight room. I mean, and hopefully we can get back into the weight room at Haas here soon, rather than being out in the batting cages at Evans Diamond. But we're making it work, right? And I look forward to those days when our guys are in the weight room, you're in there doing your thing, and it's inspiring to watch. So Robin, as a coach, when this goes on, I can think about sort of the levels of my own experiences. First, it's dealing with our NC2A team and dealing with the idea that our NC2A championships are going to be canceled, and then your mind shifts to, okay, my other responsibility is a coach for Team USA. And even though our NC2A championships are canceled, the Olympic trials are still on the books, and we're trying to figure out how to get the training done for those athletes. And certainly you were trying to figure out how to communicate with Cameron and keep her training going. And there's that level of anxiousness as this sort of started to go and get worse and worse and worse, that almost as a coach, and I'll speak for me, but almost as a coach, I was hoping that the Olympic Games would be postponed, because I just didn't, I saw the toll that it was taking on our athletes on a day in, day out basis of coming into the pool, swimming. We were split up into different groups. We were already starting to practice the idea of what's become the norm of social distancing. And it was just this unsettling feeling that, okay, we're going to go into an Olympic trials and into an Olympic Games during the midst of a pandemic. what were your thoughts going on through this? I know kind of we wear two hats, right? We're thinking about our Cal athletes, but then we're also thinking about our responsibilities for Team USA. So talk to us about what you were experiencing during this time.
Yeah, I was very concerned about how we were going to have anything, and kind of the same your thoughts. I'm like, let's hear that it's gonna, at least we can know it's canceled, because it made it easier for people to kind of readjust, because it was very stressful for, not only were, the NCAA shutting down the, national championships, and school has gone online, but all the track meets are canceled. So therefore, all our Olympic hopefuls, including some of our collegians, don't have any place to compete. There's no way to get sharp, to get ready for the Olympics, or let alone the Olympic trials, which is undoubtedly, like I said earlier, the hardest team to make, just to get on that team. So yeah, it was very stressful thinking about, how are these kids going to make it? How are they going to be able to get to these meets and, like I say, get sharp and be ready to go for the biggest meet of their lives? And I worried about the kids, and just, stress levels, thinking about, how am I going to do this? I can't get into a weight room. Just couldn't do anything. Couldn't get on the track. So yeah, I clearly wanted to go to Olympic Games and have that experience, but I also want the athletes to have the best experience they can and be most ready for their competition. And I didn't feel like they could, given the circumstances and the situation. And I think that with this pandemic, it was the best for everyone, just so that we knew everything was tightening so quickly. And, and I understand why it took so long for them to decide to just say it's not going to happen, because there's so much at stake. But I think it was the best thing that happened, for sure.
And I know, I know, Dana and Robin, you have this experience of being at the Olympic Games, and Cameron, you're charging forward, to that journey and to that experience. But I want to hear from everyone. I'm gonna start with Cameron, and actually, before Cameron, I'm going to set it up for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience of being a part of the Cal community and pursuing an Olympic dream, and pursuing, the Olympic, just the Olympic moment. I mean, I can remember being in Rio and being on the pool deck at Rio, and you see the various countries' flags in the stands that are waving, and this is even in warm up, right? I mean, people are starting to get fired up for that session at night. But I remember looking up in the stands and seeing a Cal flag, and just knowing that regardless of, where you are from and what country you are representing, you are a Cal Bear. And that, like, in that moment, I mean, it kind of made my eyes water. But it was one of those things that just was so special to me as a coach, to feel like I'm a part of something a little bit bigger than what I'm doing right now. And so as an athlete, as you're going through this experience, and as you're, pursuing, making the Olympic team, what does it mean to you to be a part of the Cal experience as you're pursuing this Olympic dream of yours?
Well, first off, let me just say that I love that you talked about seeing a Cal flag, because I think there's a quick story that perfectly showcases how incredible the Cal community is. So back in 2018, July 2018, so Coach Mo, my coach here at Cal, Coach Mo and I were in Finland for World Junior Championships. And we had just finished our training session, or I think walking tour from the stadium. We were by the stadium, and I was wearing like just a Cal track and field shirt. And we were just walking across this little bridge. And first off, the city we were in had strung up the flags of every country represented at this championships. It was beautiful. But also, while we were walking across, I'm in this Cal shirt, and someone passes me and they just yell, "Hey, go Bears!" And I loved it. I loved it so much. And Coach Mo and I both turned, and we just, whipped our head around. It's like, oh my gosh, go Bears. And we just started having the most random conversation in the middle of this Finnish town. But like I feel like the people from Cal, you just see the impact, you see the community, and you see how its members are so widespread. And it's one of the most incredible parts about being just so involved with this school is that you make so many connections. And because of those connections, I was able to have so much support while I was home. And it was, whether it was through our meetings with the team, whether it was checking in with other teammates, whether it was checking in with other friends, those relationships keep you anchored. They make you remember, the most important things in life and the people that you are so lucky to have in it, the people that are rooting for you. And while you were talking about your experience, and Coach Johnson and Dana, when you were talking about your experience at the beginning, my stomach just started buzzing. And that was the feeling that I was really trying to hold on to while I was home, because even with the postponement of everything, postponement does not mean cancellation. And so there's always something that you need to be fighting for. And it just got me so excited to hear you all just discuss your experiences and tell me your stories. I love that. I love being able to visualize every little detail that will help me push through that training. And I'm so happy that I was able to do that through the training sessions where I was there alone, either early in the morning or late at night, and going to lift by myself. And it was thinking of the end goal that really drove home that every little thing you do counts, and you have to remember what it is that you're training for.
Oh, that's perfect. That's so well said. I mean, Dana, as an athlete, I mean, I probably stole your thunder and just that memory from 2012 and the London Games of you walking out for the 100 fly. But what has the Cal community meant to you, especially as as you pursued your Olympic dreams and had your Olympic successes? What resonates with you as you think back at through those different experiences?
It's truly been that Cal has felt like a family, and every athlete has a foundation of support and feeling like they are loved and cared for. And I really felt that my coach at Cal cared more about me as a human being than at how I did at any one swim meet or the Olympic Games. And to have that is vital, I feel, in standing up and facing the kind of pressure that we put on ourselves when we're standing up on the blocks. And but it's one of those that I love when people say "Go Bears," just like Cameron was saying. I love it, and I see someone with a Cal hat in the grocery stores, and I'm like, go Bears, to anybody that I see, and just it's all walks of life, people from all around the world, and it's something that I was thinking about the Cal campus. And you walk on to Cal's campus, and it is a campus of excellence, of Nobel Prize winners, of people pursuing huge, ambitious goals. And it's much like walking into the Olympics, and we get to be in a community, in an environment like that every day. It's so incredibly special that when I did make it to the Olympic Games, you walk in and you can walk in with confidence because of what Cal had given me. And it's also the understanding that the perfect circumstances never usually happen, that there's always something that's going on either in the world, in ourselves, in our families, that for everything to line up exactly how we want it to, and that's the day that we want to race, is so unlikely. And as Cal's family grows and we hear everybody's stories and what they were going through during this time, and how Cameron got through being at home, and the way that other athletes are getting through being at home, it's through that vulnerability and those stories that we're able to know that no matter what the Olympic Games looks like, we're going to be able to come together and make it work, because we're figuring that out on a daily basis. And I felt like it was a strength that Cal athletes had in the past, of just being able to go in whatever situation they're presented with, they pick themselves up and they make the best of it. And we get to do that again. And I think just really seeing how much all of us have just reached out to each other and are reminding each other that we still have that base of support and that base of love, and that we're cheering for each other, is just so important. And I couldn't be more proud to have gone to Cal, to still be a part of the Cal family, and cheering so loudly for every Cal athlete.
And Robin, I typically say this as a coach, that I'm able to see further and do more, because I'm standing on the shoulders of such great coaches that have come before me, whether it's Nort Thornton or Terry McKeever or Karen Moe. I mean, these coaches that have accomplished so much, that when you're part of the Cal community, you feel sort of a level of responsibility, like, I've got to keep this thing going. And there's a little bit of pressure with that, but it's also a sense of pride to feel like, okay, I am a part of this now. And I know that I have people that have my back, that are directing me, pushing me in the right direction. Being a part of the Cal community as a coach, what are the things that you feel, especially as you head into these next 8 months, heading into the trials and into the Olympic Games?
Well, I feel a tremendous amount of pride just being here at Cal, and also knowing that you're right. We stand on the backs and the shoulders of people that come before us. I'm lucky enough to work for Irv Hunt, who was the head coach of the 1996 Olympic Games when I was here years ago, and just hearing all the experiences he had, and also his the head manager at the time was Al Beta, who was also there, and you get a lot of motivation from them. You hear a lot of things that on how to deal with things at the Olympic level, and just my 32 years of coaching at this point really helped as well. I've seen a lot, but I know that I realize in those situations that we are working with people's. This could be their one moment on at the Olympic stage, and I look forward to seeing Cameron there. And I know I know Dana remembers all those times. It's an incredible feeling to be at the Olympic Games, and I just I value that. I'm going to sneak in something with Cal on it, get Cal on there some way while I'm at the games, and I hope to see a lot of Bears there. And it's just an incredible experience, and I feel so fortunate to be able to represent Team USA and Cal. And I really look forward to it. And I think it's going to be a tremendous Olympic Games, regardless of how many people are in the stands. But I know that the dedication and the hard work of all those athletes will truly pay off, and it'll be a great experience.
That's awesome. And so we're on our final question here, and we're going to go around the horn here. Advice, right? We all want to hear from the greatness on this screen about what it takes to be at that level. Maybe something that you wish you would have known, that you could tell your former self to say, hey, think about this. But more specifically, maybe for those young athletes out there that are pursuing their Olympic dreams, what advice would you give? And Cameron, I'm going to start with you. So fire away, advice. Give it to everybody out there. What's the secret sauce?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny that you say secret sauce, because one of the freshman throwers on our team asked me the same question with that same exact phrasing last week. And I feel as if my response is very short, but I think the one thing that I really learned, and I'm still learning something new every single day, but the one thing that I really learned, especially in the last 7 months and being home, is just really trusting the process and trusting yourself. And it's just made the biggest difference, really, in my confidence, in how I view myself going into competitions, how I look at the good days and the bad days when it comes to training, or just in general. I think being able to trust yourself, and then also the process that you're working through, really, it really makes you look at your goals, and it makes you look at everything you need to do to achieve every single one of them. Because the Olympics is something that Coach Mo and I have been looking forward to now for, I guess, ever since that I've gone to Cal. Ever since the possibility was there, it's something that's always been a part of our equation, and doing everything we can throughout the years, through training, through the slow development, through the maintaining, through the hard building in the fall and the explosiveness in the spring with throwing, through every little change. It's the thing that we've really been looking to. And so looking back on the past 3 years here at Cal, and the support that I've been able to have and the people I've been able to meet, I think the one thing I would tell myself going into freshman year is just trust the process, and everything is going to work itself out. It really will, as long as you also are able to pull that little part of yourself out that always wants to push for more and settle for nothing less than you deserve.
Awesome. Awesome. Dana, lay it on us. 3 Olympic Games. What advice do you have for those Olympic hopefuls out there?
Yeah, that you have to know you. And I think right now we have kind of a unique opportunity to get more in touch with who you are. And it's understanding what fuels you. It's what I think about when people like want to understand that inner driver, that it's not just because it's you want to make an Olympic team. It's figuring out really what you love to do. And what is it about training? What is it about meets? What is it, in other areas of your life that really fuel you, that you really look forward to? And then it's the ability to not just, just put more things that you love in your life. It's being able to really analyze and look at those things and how do they become the driver to reaching your goal. And, I felt like for a long time, I was trying to do it how other people said to do it, trying to train the right way, trying to see how other Olympians had done it. And kind of being very harsh on myself if I wasn't meeting those. And to finally figure out what I loved about the sport and how I wanted to train and what fueled me, and to be able to tap into that and use that to drive you. It's a whole different source of energy than something coming from the outside or that you're comparing yourself to. So I want people to take the time to decipher all of those definitions that we have. What is your definition of hard work, of giving your all in practice, of what are you judging yourself against? What is your understanding of success? What do you want out of getting to the Olympics or winning an Olympic medal? Like what are the feelings involved in that will stay true to your heart? And I feel like once you start to understand that, then you create the path that's for you, that's unique to you. And it just gives you so much more energy and fuel to push through those hard times, because we all have them. The practices that are super rough, the nerves behind a block, like it's coming from a place of authenticity. So you feel so much more fulfilled after the race, whether it was good or bad. Like you knew that you approached it the way that you needed to pursue your own dreams and your own goals.
It's awesome. Well said. Now, Robin, as a coach, I mean, what do you know, and we're both in kind of socially distant sports, you know, because we probably have people out there on the track right now that are running because that's all they can do. We have people in the pool because that's all they can do right now. They can't necessarily throw a ball or bump up against each other, whatever it may be. So, you know, what advice do you have for that young future Olympian that's out there that's looking to make this journey that's out there on the track?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and both these ladies touched on it because they're great competitors, but it's learning from your mistakes and your successes. Learn how that forms you and on how you see yourself, and then work hard. If you fall a little short, hard work and dedication will pay off. Learn from your mistakes and just keep it moving because those are the little things that really help in your development, and you learn so much from everything. And I wished I had just paid a little more attention, be in the moment as well, and really, learn from all those things. And I think it'll really help you in the future. And as you move,
Yeah, we had a great performance psychologist that we worked with from 2014 2018 by the name of Ken Ravizza, and he used to always say, and I kind of picked up on everything that you guys said. Always sort of, kind of boils down to a couple of those phrases, but one of the things, Robin, was, be where you need to be when you need to be there, right? Not getting too far ahead of yourself, but be where you need to be when you need to be there. And I think Dana had said it earlier is, keep the pleasure greater than the pressure. When you stand up on the blocks, that's the enjoyment. Keep the pleasure greater than the pressure. And Cameron certainly said it as well with, keep the process greater than the performance. So stay in what you're doing every day versus, looking at the distance of a throw or a distance of a practice throw or a time on a watch, at that point, keep the process greater than the performance. So, and I know we're right up against time. So I just want to extend a thank you to all of us, or for all of you, all of you that joined us today on this talk. We really, really appreciate it. Your time of spending with us and these great Olympians. I hope that, or future Olympians, and I hope that you guys were able to take away something from this. Please take a look at the other homecoming activities in this virtual space, in this virtual world that we are in right now. And I, along with Robin and Dana and Cameron, we look forward to the day that we get to do this face to face in an auditorium and seeing everybody on our campus. So we long for that, and we certainly appreciate your time with us today. And I hope that you enjoy this virtual homecoming weekend. Until then, until we get to see you face to face, be safe and go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.